It's a lot closer than I really wanted. My house is haunted. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you a few top tips on how you can have a really productive day. Obviously it can be quite difficult whether you're at uni or whether you're at college or whether you're just trying to get some GCSE revision done. It can be really difficult to actually set a whole day aside to get some revision done and really sort of motivate yourself to get all of that work done. So I'm going to give you a few top tips on how you can make the most out of a day you've set aside for study. So tip number one starts with the night before. So make sure you get a good night's sleep the night before. What can really help with this is switching your phone off a little bit earlier. Don't go on your phone right before bed. Maybe read a book or something like that. Try not to be staring at a screen right before you go to sleep because it'll probably keep you awake for longer. And tip number two follows nicely after tip number one. You want to make sure you get up at a decent time, so going to bed early and having a good night's sleep will ensure that you get up early the next day as well. Try and do something first thing in the morning that puts yourself in a good mindset. Whether that be tidying your room or making your bed. Making your bed's a big one for me. If I've made my bed for the day, I feel like I can be productive for the day. I feel like I've achieved something first thing, so I can go on to achieve more throughout the day. That's weird, that's just me. Another thing that can really sort of wake me up and set me off to a good start is to go and have a shower and get dressed and ready for the day. Even if I don't plan on leaving the house for the day, being dressed and almost ready to work and not sort of slouched in my pyjamas really does help for a productive day as well. Tip number three is to get started right away. Now, this doesn't work for everyone. Some people might like to sort of sit down and have their breakfast and sort of ease into the day. I find it better if, as soon as I'm up and dressed and ready to start, that I actually smash out a couple of hours or maybe even just an hour of work before I sit down to have my breakfast. Because I often find that if I'm sitting down to eat, I'll pop the telly on or I'll maybe sit on my phone, and that's when I start to get distracted and sort of dwindle into not really doing much work for the day. So maybe as soon as you're feeling productive and awake, get a little bit of work done before you sit down to have your breakfast, because then as well your breakfast can sort of be like your first break, which we'll go on to in a little bit. Tip number four is to set yourself some achievable goals. Now, we've talked about this in some of our other organisation style videos, but the best thing to do to start your work is write yourself a little to-do list. Make them achievable goals, like I've said. That way you can take things one thing at a time, and as you start to tick off that list, you'll really feel like you've achieved something for the day, which will motivate you to carry on working and keep working through that to-do list. Tip number five is to allow for those breaks. So put your phone to one side and turn it off whilst you're working. You want to make sure that you're concentrating and not constantly checking through social media, but allow yourself little breaks to stop and have your breakfast or stop and check social media for a little bit. You might want to sit back on the sofa and have a little drink and actually allocate time to check social media rather than sort of flicking through it the whole time, because before you know it you've sat scrolling through Instagram for half an hour and you've done no work. So allocate those times to actually sit and look through it, and you know, lunch breaks and time to sort of sit back and maybe watch a little bit of telly. You know, those things are important in a productive day because you don't really want to be sat solidly working for more than like a couple of hours, because you're not really going to get much out of that. So you're better off working in smaller bursts and having those regular breaks, because you'll probably be a lot more productive. Tip number six is to make sure you don't spend all day inside. This is something that can have a really big effect on me. So whether that means using one of your half-an-hour breaks to go for a little walk, which is usually something I do. Another good thing is you could maybe change locations to like a local library instead of working at home, just to make sure you get a little bit of fresh air and have a little walk around outside in between sort of doing all that work. Last but not least, we have tip number 7, a very weird number of tips, I am sorry, but for me I think this is the most important one and something I had to learn, I think sort of throughout university, which was kind of knowing when you're going to stop. So set yourself a time of day that you're going to stop working, because that can then avoid working into the night and working really late, and also it can avoid your procrastination. If you know that you've got to stop working at 6-7 o'clock, you're going to make sure you get lots done before that deadline. So giving yourself those little deadlines and time to actually stop working, put away your laptop, put away your books and relax for the evening will probably make for a much more productive day as well. So guys, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed these few little tips on how you can have the most productive day possible. If you've got any other ideas for how people can keep productive, or any things that have worked or haven't worked for you, please drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. But until then, I'll see you very soon. Bye!